Hi everyone, hope you're all doing well. Today we're going to do a little bit of an update into Beyond Meat. I did do one quite recently, but I feel like there's been a lot more developments over the last few weeks, and that them developments have really caused me to do a little bit of an update. And a little bit of an update just saying that I'm actually really impressed with what's going on with Beyond Meat. I think some of the moves they've been making over the last period with a lot of the partnerships as well have been absolutely fantastic, and also a little bit of a look into the financials really going into Q4 and what I want to see for them. But just in general, Beyond Meat is an investment of mine. It's an investment I've held for just over a yearish now. So with me being a bit of a long-term investor that invests for 2 to 5 years normally on a stock, I can always go a little bit longer if I still think the company is doing very well past that 5 year mark. I just think when you look at companies 5 years down the line, it's very hard to predict where stocks are going to be or companies are going to be 5 years down the line, because a lot can change in 5 years. So that's why I always like to stick in the 2 to 5 year range. And when they do get into that sort of period of time, which Beyond Meat is only about a year off now, getting to that period of time, I normally want to see them doing some, good things on the financial, and then normally the share price does start reflecting that. If it doesn't, then as long as the company's still moving in the right direction in them 2 year periods, I'll probably still hold it. But Beyond Meat is starting to enter that phase now. I think 2022 is going to be a massive year for them. I'd love to see I want the financials to really kick on. They've been a lot stagnated because the food service part of the business has been killed off for like the last 2 years really, and I think like now that should really start recovering now. So obviously I want to see that start coming back. I want to see the retail side still improving, and some of the big partnerships that they've got in the last 2 years, I want to see them start coming into the financials, with the likes of the McPlant burger, with the partnership with McDonald's, the Pepsi deal, which I've heard rumours that their product, and I think a few of you guys commented on the videos last time I could be on Meat saying one of the products they're looking at is a beef jerky product, but obviously made with Beyond Meat. So yeah, I want to see that partnership start playing out as well. So yeah, 2022 is a big year for Beyond Meat. It's probably at the end of 2022, I'll probably look at this investment and go, okay, is it time to like move away? I've given it 2 years, has it developed into what I thought it would do? Or in 2 years time do I look and go, it's not really moving where I wanted it to, so I'll probably move away from this one. So yeah, it's definitely a big one going forward. The share price in particular has been absolutely slaughtered in the last year, as you can see, 1 point, and so you guys might remember this period of time, we were $192, and I remember trimming my position some at that point. I think that's when the Pepsi deal came out, and since then, it's down 65%. Absolute huge amount, to lose that much value. And I look at what Beyond Meat has done in the last 12 months, and I look at this and I go, does this company deserve to go from $192 down to $66? And in my opinion, it doesn't. I think this company has made some really good moves in the last 12 months. The financials for one of the quarters were probably a little bit disappointing for sure, and I can say that I'll be honest and say that the Q3 results were a little bit disappointing for me. I wanted better, but that's only three months of a bad period. Does the company deserve to lose this much value having one bad earnings? No, I don't think so. The partnerships have been amazing, and the recovery in the earnings previously to Q3 were pretty good as well. So yeah, I think that this is a bit of an unjustified sell-off, and it's currently trading at a 4.2 billion market cap. Now, I wanted to do a bit of an update just because I've been very impressed with Beyond Meat and the moves it's making. First of all, the McPlant burger. The McPlant burger has now gone nationwide in the UK, which is fantastic. A lot of restaurants that they have, and with it being so successful, I look at that and think, well, it's probably going to go to the US, Europe, and that's going to be so amazing for the food service part of the business going forward. And even though probably like half of the big this is absolutely amazing is because obviously the sales are going to be absolutely amazing, but the other half, which I talked about previously for such a long period, for a whole year I've been banging on about this, is that it's very good for sales, and the sales are going to bring so much more revenue in, but the advertising is absolutely amazing. The awareness of Beyond Meat now is unbelievable. McDonald's are paying for all these advertising. This was it on the Metro when it just got announced nationwide. And look at this down in the corner, Beyond Meat logo right there on all the McDonald's advertising, all the McDonald's stores. It's absolutely amazing. The free advertising that you're getting from this is superb. So yeah, this is absolute great news, and I think that this is obviously going to bring so much awareness in. People that are going to associate with that product are going, oh, they do the McPlant burger, and they see it in the supermarket and then they go buy it. So yeah, obviously from that point of view, it's amazing. When I personally went to get one, same again here. It's advertised everywhere in a lot of the McDonald's basically in the UK. Same again, the logos here as well. And previously went to a TGI Fridays and they even had it here. So they had a Beyond Meat logo down here. So all this is bringing in sales on the food service, but awareness. The amount of free advertising they're getting from this is absolutely amazing. So hopefully this really does start adding into the sales from the actual partnerships point of view, but for the advertising point of view. And the reviews have been pretty good. There was a bit of an article here, some of the screenshots on Twitter, and this is for the KFC vegan nuggets that they've just announced, and that's all going pretty well out there. So hopefully that adds a fair bit in as well. So going into next quarter, this is what we're expecting: a loss of 0.34. And sales growth to be negative, down 0.2%. I think that potentially they could see that growth being a bit better than that. Obviously when you consider that the McPlant burger wasn't nationwide, but that should obviously add a bit of sales in for the international side of it. Hopefully retail sales are strong. Hopefully just in general, a lot of food service is strong going into Q4. Obviously there might be you've got to also consider you had a bit of fear because of the new variant coming out then as well. Maybe that affected people going out. I don't know, but that's what analysts are forecasting. But then they want to see a rebound in Q1, probably because of the vegan nuggets, the McPlant burger. So obviously this is a big thing. We do need to see Beyond Meat start getting back to pretty high percentage of growth, because even though it's had a massive sell-off, like the valuation for a stock to be growing at 25% like this, it is high for that sort of growth. You command a higher valuation for the more growth you have generally. So Beyond Meat do need to get back to quite high amounts of growth to justify that valuation. So they do still need to move higher. And you can see here that they're in next year, they're looking at 38% growth. I think that's probably about fair. They need to get back to 40-50% growth. That's where we need to see Beyond Meat with all these partnerships take that growth forward, and that to command that higher valuation. Now they are expecting quite a big loss on the EPS side of it, and we'll see what happens. I mean, obviously you got to remember they have put a lot of money into the infrastructure over the last few years, and obviously when you are obviously mass producing a lot more, you'd hope that brings your cost down a little bit. So we'll see. I don't think Beyond Meat is that far off profitability if they're mass producing a lot of these items a lot. So yeah, we'll see what happens. But yeah, that's what we need to see from the financial point of view. And going into the actual financials of the last quarter, some of the key things that we want to see is this retail growth in the US start improving, the food service on the US start improving. Those are two big things that need to start moving in the right direction, especially that food service side in the US. But then on international side of it, the retail side of it is still pretty good. Food service, I mean, international retail is 117%, food service is 142%. So as long as international stays really high growth, that's that part of the country is going absolutely amazing. We just need to see the US side of it just go back to improving and having a lot more high growth. So those are the big things that we do need to see change around. I mean, if international growth stays the same and we just have a bit more improvement in the US side of it. But the last thing I'm going to say is that one thing that's really important to remember is that this stock is actually really highly shorted right now. It's 20 million short interest. The percentage of float is 35%. I think Beyond Meat is like the 7th most highest shorted stock on the stock market. So yeah, there's a lot of haters out there. I think it's just the general point of view that people looking at the growth and the valuation and not understanding why the growth is so slow at the moment because of half the company being killed off. And I generally think people are quite negative to alternatives to meat products. I think a few people get quite offended by that, funny enough. I think a few people are like, oh, if my great-great-great-granddad that was this caveman and he saw me eating this meat, he'll be so disappointed in me. I can't do this. We shouldn't be doing this. Like, people get really offended by it as well, which I think is also maybe one of the reasons why. But yeah, generally, like there's a lot of negativity out towards Beyond Meat at the moment, and it is shorted. So you've always got to take that into consideration. Whether you look at anything, any articles, there's a lot of negative articles out there, a lot of shorts pushing their agenda out. There's when you go on a lot of like forum chats like Yahoo Finance, there's a lot of people like, oh, so negative about it. Ethan Brown's terrible. I mean, you can say he's terrible, but there again, how has he now got he's founded from $0 to a $4 billion company? He's not bad, he's not bad. And you don't fluke getting massive partnerships with Pepsi and McDonald's, and so let's not forget about that anyway as well. So yeah, that's one thing to be careful of, and one thing to take into consideration as well. If Beyond Meat do have a good Q4, then you could see a jump in the share price. And at the same time, people will probably try and pick holes in the Q4 as well and say, oh, this is, a horrible quarter, it should go down 10% or something like that as well, even if it's a good quarter. So yeah, that's one thing that I don't think I've ever really pointed out, but I thought I would point out. I think quite a few people are aware of that short interest on it, but that's also something that it can be annoying holding a stock that has that much short interest, that much shorts pushing their agenda, but unfortunately it is part of the game anyway. So yeah, I want to just talk about Beyond Meat, talk about what I wanted to see from them going forward, and also how impressed I am with the partnerships and the advertising they're getting as well at the moment. So yeah, hope you enjoyed the video. If you could hit the like button, that'd be absolutely amazing. If you're new, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video.